Hi everyone, in this video I'll show you how to use Mapster in ASP.NET Core applications. As the name suggests, Mapster is a library that maps one object type to a different object type. It is a convention-based mapper that is easy to configure and use. Writing code to map one object to another can be very repetitive and boring. Because of this, Mapster frees us from writing error-prone code. So, to start, the initial step is to install the Mapster package. And all I have to do is to call the install package command and add the name of the library. Now it's ready for use. Initially, I prepared two classes to represent the entities. Here's the person class, and as you can see, I have the address class here, so let's check that one as well. Now, with entities in place, let's inspect the first DTO class that I will use for mapping actions. It has all of the properties from the original person entity except for address, which I will use later in the video. It's important to note that all of our properties inside the DTO class are named the same as our entity properties, so we can map them without additional configuration. Now, it's time to look at the basic usage of Mapster for mapping objects and collections on the fly without configuration. First, let's open a new class named Mapping Functions, and I will use this one to implement all of the different mapping functionalities. You can see the class is already static. So I will add two static fields here and populate them from my fake seed class just to have some data to map from. That said, let's add a first private static read-only field of the person type, and let's name it person. I will populate it by calling my custom demo data class and the createPerson method. This method will create a single person object. Next, I will create a new static read-only field as a list of persons and name it people. Then I will simply populate this field with the createPeople method that returns a list of person objects. So, initially, we have two different ways of mapping a single object to another using the generic adapt method. We can use mapping to a new object and mapping to an existing object. That said, let's create a new static method that returns person DTO, and let's name it mapPerson to new DTO. In this method, I will create a new person DTO variable as a destination to which I will map all the values from the person object by using the adapt method and providing the destination type. Also, let's simply return this person DTO as a result. Now, I already have a controller prepared that will simply call all of the methods I will create in this class. And since its implementation is not that important for the Mapster logic, let's simply start the app and test this. The app will start with the Swagger prepared, and I can use the first request to test this mapping action. And as you can see, I have successfully mapped the person object to a person DTO without any configuration or additional complex logic. Now to continue, I can use another way of mapping when I want to map data to an existing object. So let's add another static method that returns a person DTO, and let's name it mapPerson to existing DTO. Unlike the previous example, in this case I create a new person DTO object first. After that, I map the data from the person object using the adapt method to the existing person DTO variable. This time I don't have to provide the generic type parameter. Finally, let's return the mapped object. Okay, with this done, let's test it. Let's send another request here, and again it works like a charm. Now, just quickly, I would like to let you all know that we have a great Ultimate ASP.NET Core Web API book, which you can find linked in the description below. Feel free to check out the book or our Blazor course if you want to master all the best practices to create powerful production-ready web APIs and client C# apps without using JavaScript. Again, the links are in the description below. Now, let's talk about mapping collections. Mapster also provides extensions to map from Queryable in .NET. With that, we can speed up the process of mapping data we get from the database inside the Queryable data type. To show that, let's create another method that returns a list of person DTOs, and let's name it map person queryable to DTO queryable. Inside the method, I create a new person DTOs variable, and as a first step, I will convert the people collection to the iQueryable type using the asQueryable method. Then, in the next step, I use the project to type generic extension method from Mapster to map the data to the person DTOs variable. Finally, let's convert this to a list and return the collection. As you can see, it is a straightforward implementation. Now, let's run the app and call the API from Swagger to get the results. You can see all of the DTO objects with the correct data. Now, with these initial mappings in place, I want to implement functionalities with custom mapping so you can see the real potential of the Mapster library. To start, I need to add a custom Mapster configuration to implement custom mapping logic. First, let's check a Mapster config static class with an existing method for Mapster configuration. Inside this extension method, I will implement all the required configuration. But before I even start doing that, I need to register this extension method in the program class. So let's just use the builder.services property and register the register Mapster configuration method inside the service collection. Great. Now we are ready to implement a custom mapping with Mapster. Okay, what if we have properties with different names inside our DTO classes? Well, Mapster has a solution for that. Let's add another DTO class which we will use to present information for our person entity and name it person short info DTO. Let's also add a single property that I will use to store the full name of our person entity. After that, let's get back to the configuration class and add a new configuration to this extension method. So, let's use the type adapter config generic class with the person class for the source and the person short info DTO class as our destination. Then, I need a new config method to start a new configuration. And then, I can use the map method that accepts two func delegates as parameters. For the first one, I will provide a destination parameter that I can use to specify the full name property I want to map to. So this is the destination configuration. Also, for the source configuration, I will use the source parameter and specify that the destination's full name property should be mapped with the following string interpolation value of the title, first name, and last name from the source object. Lastly, I need to call the scan method to scan the assembly and add the registration to the type adapter config class. Now, I can implement a new method in our mapping functions class, which will be called from my controller. As you can see, this is the same logic we used for the first method in this class. Just this time, our custom mapping from the Mapster config class will define how we map the data. Great. Let's run the app and test this. And let's send a request. Okay, there is our new DTO with the full name populated. To continue, let's talk about mapping based on condition. The map method from Mapster can accept a third parameter, which we can use to set a condition based on the source object. In a case where the condition is not met, a null or a default value will be assigned to the destination object. So let's add another integer age property to our person short info DTO class. With that, let's modify our Mapster configuration to add a conditional mapping. So let's call the map method one more time. And for the destination, I want to map to the age property. Next, for the source, I will use the current year and subtract the value of the date of birth's year property, but only if date of birth has a value. And for that, I can specify a source condition and use it to call the date of birth .hasValue property. And that's all. I can now run the app again and call the same action from our controller again to see the result. And there you go. You can see the age of our person because I assigned the value to the date of birth property. Of course, if I remove the value from that property and set it simply to null and test this functionality again, you can see I get 0 for the age as a default value. Excellent. Let's just return the value here. Another example of custom mapping is the mapping of nested members. To show that, let's add a new string property named full address to our DTO class. Now I can modify the configuration to populate the full address property of the destination class. So again, let's use the map method, and for the destination, use the full address property. This is the one I want to map to. And for the source, I will simply concatenate a few properties from the address class that I can access through the source object. So the street, postcode, and the city. It is important to note that Mapster applies null propagation by default. If the address property is null on the source object, a null value will be assigned to the full address instead of throwing a null pointer exception. So to test this, let's run the app again and use the same request. Excellent. The nested mapping is working as expected. Now let's see how we can ignore custom members. Let's say that for some reason, when mapping from person to person DTO, I want to ignore the title property. In that case, I can use the type adapter config class, provided the source and the destination types, use the new config to start a new config here, and then call the ignore method and provide the destination parameter that I can use to access the title property, the one I want to ignore in this case. With that in place, let's run the app and send the first request again. We can see the difference from our previous call since the title value is now null. With Mapster, we can also use the ignore non-mapped method to ignore all members that are not explicitly set in the configuration. In addition to that, we can use the ignore if method with a condition based on the source or target object. When the condition is met, Mapster will skip the property. Also, with Mapster we have a two-way mapping. The two-way mapping is a simple way to configure mapping in both ways, from source to destination and from the destination to the source object. We can achieve this by calling a two-ways method in our configuration. After that, let's navigate to the mapping functions class and create a new method that returns our entity and name it mapPersonDTO to person entity. Inside, I will create a new person DTO and populate it with a call to my existing method here that returns a new person DTO object. Then let's add a new person variable and use the person DTO variable to call the adapt method to map to the person type. Finally, let's return the person variable. Okay, let's run the app again and send the last request from the list. We see that all of the properties from the DTO are successfully mapped, with the title and address ignored. The title is ignored by our configuration, and the address is ignored because I don't have the address property inside the person DTO class. But I will work on that in a minute. Now, Mapster has more options for custom mapping, and it is essential to mention before and after mapping functionalities. I can use the before mapping method to perform actions before the mapping operation, and in the same way, I can use the after mapping method to execute actions after the mapping operation. To see this in practice, let's add two simple methods to our person DTO class. Well, as you can see, nothing special here. Now, let's go to the Mapster config class and add a new configuration for person DTO. So I need to use the type adapter config class one more time, with the source and the destination, and also use the forType method here. Now I can call the before mapping method and use the action delegate parameter with two parameters, source and destination, and use the destination parameter to call the sayHello method from the person DTO class. In the same way, I can use the after mapping method, provide the same action delegate as a parameter, and just call the sayGoodbye method. Finally, let's run the app and call our getNewPerson action again, and check the console to see the output. You can see both methods executed. Finally, let's talk about flattening complex objects with Mapster. By default, Mapster will perform flattening for us. So let's say that we have a person entity that has the address property with the street property inside it. Now, I can add a new string property called addressStreet to my person DTO class. At this point, Mapster will perform the mapping without any additional configuration. Well, let's test it. Let's call our getNewPerson action again without additional configuration and check the result. And we can see the address street populated automatically based on flattening. Also, I can call the last request, where I map from the person DTO to the person entity. And as you can see, the street property is populated while the rest are null because the person DTO doesn't have other properties from the address class. Excellent. I covered a lot of Mapster features in this video, and you can see how easy the mapping is by using this library. With that in mind, I can finish the video. Thanks a lot for watching, and feel free to share your thoughts about this video in the comments. I hope to see you all in the next one, and until then, all the best.